The future of the NBA resides in San Antonio.
But I will tell you, Victor Wembanyama is the real deal.
He just turned 20? Because I know he came in at 19. So he probably...
Could he break that record?
We just witnessed one of the greatest rookie seasons in NBA history. And no, that's not an overreaction. No, that's not hyperbole. That boy in San Antonio might have just had one of the greatest rookie seasons in NBA history. Victor was born on January 4th, 2004 in Le Chesnay, Paris. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Born into a very athletic family, his father Felix was a track and field star, and his mother, the person who got him into basketball, was a former basketball player herself. She competed in a variety of different professional French leagues and even got to at one point play with the French national team. She was also previously a head coach as well. I don't think you can say a lot of people were born to do something, but Victor was basically born to play basketball. Not only are both his parents very, very tall, his grandfather was also a very successful basketball player, which means Victor is the third person in his family to pursue basketball professionally. Wait a minute, did I say third? Sorry, I meant fourth, because his older sister is also a professional athlete. He also has a younger sibling, but let's not put too much pressure on the guy. Now, when it actually comes to how he was discovered, it was actually on accident. You see, this guy named
Michael Allard
happened to one day be watching a U11 game, and
Michael Allard
was actually a part of the team
Nanterre 92 Basketball Club.
And at first he actually mistaked Victor for an assistant head coach because the kid was kind of a giant. But then Victor told him how old he was, and then his face slightly dropped like in, one of those cartoons. The kid was apparently 5'10" at the age of 9. I mean, do you know how fucking insane that is? He was 5'10" at the age of 9.
How old were you when you were my height? I'm 5'10".
5'10". That's what? 1m78? 1m78 something? Probably 9.
Nice. That makes me feel good.
And the craziest part about that was he was actually discovered 1 year later when he was 10, which means there was probably some 6-foot kid who was absolutely traumatizing children. Actually, isn't he kind of still doing that? Maybe we were just doomed from the start. Anyways, long story short, that same head coach that discovered him would go back to his club and demand that they sign Victor to their youth academy, which is actually the club that he would stay with up until the age of 16. Quick little mini story here. One summer, actually, at the age of 14, he got invited to play with Barcelona. Yes, that Barcelona in Spain, which was basically a recruitment mission for Barcelona because they wanted to sign him. And during that summer, he would actually go out on loan to Barcelona and compete in a tournament, the Mini Copa del Rey, which was an under-14 tournament, and his team would actually place 3rd place. And the 14-year-old Victor literally straight up told them that he was not going to be joining their club because he didn't think that they would push him hard enough, which is why he politely declined their offer and actually chose to stay in France. But he straight up told them that, hey, you guys wouldn't help me reach my full potential, which is pretty insane because, of course, if you look at it from, a European's perspective, that's Barcelona. It probably doesn't get bigger than that. But actually, let's get back on track here. Victor would go back home to France and would actually move out of his house and into that club's dormitory, where he would, of course, now be pursuing basketball considerably more. Victor would actually end up getting called up to the senior team only a year later when he was 15, making his professional debut. Yeah, it was only for, 31 seconds, but at least he got a silver medal out of it, which ended up making him the second youngest player to ever play in the Euro Cup. And for the remainder of the time when he was 15, he just rotated between the under 18 and the under 21 team, playing whenever they had a chance to play and playing in whatever competitions they competed in, and averaged an insane 16 points, 12 rebounds, 3 steals, and 6 blocks a game during the Adidas Next Generation tournament, which was an under 18 tournament that him and his team participated in. Now, when it came to, of course, the under 21 team, when he did play for them, he came off the bench in, of course, limited minutes, but even during those limited minutes, he averaged 10 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 blocks a game, which is pretty crazy to think about because he was 15. He was not playing with kids his age or even near it. The next season, when Victor actually turned 16, the club would promote him to only play now with the under 21s and the senior team. And this would be the season where Victor made his debut in the Baltic League, which is the highest level of French basketball. It was also this season that Victor had that infamous viral video with Rudy Gobert, year. And yeah, at this point he was highly regarded by almost every single scout that even knew about him, but it was this 2-on-2 video against Rudy Gobert where the 16-year-old Victor, who was now 7'3" and was dribbling like a guard, was actually introduced to the rest of the world. And when I say the rest of the world, I don't mean, scouts and everything. I mean like just your average basketball enjoyer. Everybody knew Victor was talented. It was just when you actually ended up watching Victor. But this would also be one of the first times that Victor actually suffered a pretty serious injury. He was sidelined for around 2 months and a half with a stress fracture in his fibula. Thankfully, when he did come back, he did start actually starting for the senior team a lot more. Not only did he play 18 games, but he even started in 10 of them, averaging 7 points and 5 rebounds per game, and even came back and won the Pro A Young Best Player Award, which is an award that is handed out to the best player under the age of 22. And he would even now start for the under 21 squad in the 5 games that he did manage to play with them, where he averaged 12 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 blocks per game. This was also going to be his final year with his boyhood club, the club he spent the last 6 years of his life with. On June 29th, 2021, Victor signed a 3-year contract with the team ASVEL. Sorry if I butchered that. A team that actually happens to be owned by Tony Parker. Hey, so am I the only one that's kind of noticing all these San Antonio links in the background? His first season with the team would actually be kind of a rough one, but not on the floor. Actually, he excelled when he played. It's just that he dealt with a few nagging injuries throughout the year. Even at one point coming back and scoring 25 points while grabbing 7 rebounds and having 3 blocks, and averaged 9 points while grabbing 5 rebounds per game. And in the EuroLeague, he averaged 6 points while grabbing 4 rebounds, and even having a career high in the EuroLeague when he scored 18 points. He ended up repeating as Pro A Best Young Player and was even the runner-up for EuroLeague Rising Star. He was also selected to play in the All-Star game but was sadly injured, and his team even ended up winning the Pro A championship this year. But even in what seemed like a pretty good season, Victor would opt out of his contract at the end of his first season, despite even Tony Parker promising that he would one day build the team around him. Apparently, Victor didn't actually like how he was being used, and it could have also been related to some pretty strict coaching. And with how the next season actually went, I kind of believe him. On July 4th, 2022, Victor would opt to sign a 2-year contract with, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that.
Boulogne-le-Valois Métropolitain 92.
The main reason for him joining the team is because the head coach is known for developing young talent and giving young talent a chance, so Wemby really got behind that. And even before the Pro A season got to start, the world was reintroduced to Victor when they played the G League Ignite, where he, as we all know, went absolutely crazy. So not only did the media realize, hey, that's that 16-year-old in that Rudy Gobert video, and look at him right now. Let's be honest, if you're not a scout, you weren't really keeping up with Victor. To see him re-emerge like this out of nowhere, he caught the world by storm, and then it was just a matter of time. Victor would then go on to have one of the most dominant seasons by a European player that you would ever see. He would go from averaging 9 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 assist to 22 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 blocks. Even at one point recording 4 straight games where he scored 30 points. He ended up making the All-Star game and was also the captain of the French team against the All-World team, and would even end up being named the MVP of the league. You need to understand, this is not normal. The kid was 18, leading his team full of grown men to the promised land. They didn't end up winning the league, but they actually placed second, ahead of not only Wemby's old team, but also last year's champions. And on January 27th, when he got to play his old team, he ended up hitting a game winner against them. And in the playoffs, Wemby would even lead his team all the way to the finals, but would sadly lose in the finals. I'm sure Tony Parker wasn't really happy when that happened, especially considering how much he wanted to keep Victor on his team. This season was not normal. He was the youngest MVP in league history. He was Pro A's best scorer. He was Pro A's best defender. He won MVP during the All-Star game as well. Literally three-peated as Pro A's best young player. That award was quite literally his and his only, and was even named to the Pro A All-First team, all at the young age of 18 years old. That is not normal. Getting to watch him play basketball this season has been, I quite literally cannot put into words how many times I've went, holy shit, how the fuck did he just do that? This is his worst season that we're gonna see in his entire career, likely, hopefully, of course. And it's crazy because he has the confidence. He has the self-belief that you look at him and you see how he treats himself. He knows he's the best player in the NBA. He knows nobody's better than him. Dude's locked in. All he cares about is basketball. He cares about, honing his craft and getting better at the game. He doesn't seem arrogant to the point where, it seems like, he's kind of an asshole. He's the right confident. You quite possibly cannot write a better blueprint to make a generational talent. There are no comparisons. The sky is the limit. I don't even think the sky is the limit. Nobody knows how good he's going to be in about 6 years. You literally cannot predict it. I don't care how good of an analyst you're, you cannot. I really enjoyed making this because I just wanted to know more about him. I knew of him and about him for a while now, but I never actually, looked into his life or anything. I just wanted to know more about where he came from, maybe even share it with a couple of people who might have not known it as well. There's not a lot of players in the NBA that I would actually put money on to end up as Hall of Famers that early into their careers and be somewhat confident with my answer, except for Victor.
With the first pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Victor Wembanyama from Nanterre, France.